Absolutely, Katie and Sharice, and I have a lot of information to send along, so let me get right to it. Let's start with LCMC hospitals. So all their hospitals and ERs are open, but they're for life-threatening injuries or medical problems only. The hospitals only had minor damage. There's been no interruption in service. They have generators. They're well covered for their needs. They have water supply and also well water. They're on lockdown. That means no visitors. Medical staff is staying on site. All their urgent cares are closed. All surgical elective procedures, doctor's appointments, clinical appointments are canceled. You can go to your patient portal if you want to get the latest on that. And for the hospital status updates, lcmchealth.org. Now, let's go to this next screen that we have for you. This is very important. We talk about all the injuries and the aftermath. They're already seeing people come in burned from refueling their generators. They're already seeing at least one person who has carbon monoxide poisoning, and we know that's been happening in St. Tammany and other parishes. Tragedy. Injuries from cutting branches, falling limbs, and they're asking people, please be smart and don't do anything dangerous when you're cleaning up. Okay, now I have this latest update from Ochsner. That's where we are right now. They are working on, and you can get free urgent care by telemedicine if you're a displaced person from the hurricane through September 6th. Also, you go to Ochsner Anywhere Care for that. Ochsner.org/weather will give you updates on the pharmacies and closures. COVID patients, many of them have been shifted during Ida to other regions. This is very important. They're expecting a spike in COVID cases because people evacuated and maybe people are letting their guards down about making sure that you're physical distancing and wearing your mask, and you're probably with people who you normally would not be with. They're saying they're treating right now 45 children this August for COVID, whereas from March through July they had 49. So you can see the spike. Now I have with me a hospitalist from Ochsner, Dr. Kristen Rogers, and you wanted to talk first about all the people who are coming in and having trouble with the dialysis and chemotherapy.
Yeah, so we're seeing an increased number of patients presenting to our emergency department for, not being able to access their dialysis centers, so for their end-stage kidney disease, for running out of oxygen in their oxygen tanks. And we really wanted to, give the message to these patients that the city and the state have asked us to give the resources. So for them to dial 211 if they have any oxygen needs, they can get replacement supplies. And for dialysis, a lot of the hemodialysis centers have come back online or are planning to in the next couple of days. And so I know WWL and Ochsner are actually making public the public phone numbers for them to access information to their centers and to find out when they can get dialyzed.
We do have that on our website. We look at not oxygen, but electricity being out as an inconvenience, but this is life and death for other people. I should mention that you are head of the COVID unit. God bless you, Dr. Rogers. What do you want to pass on what you're learning from being the head of that unit?
Yeah, so I've been caring for COVID-19 since March 2020, and like you said, I'm one of the medical directors for one of our many COVID units here. I think the message that we really want to give to our community is to maintain vigilance, to be safe. One of the things that we've come up with is originally was evacuate and vaccinate. So if wherever you are, if you can get vaccinated, if it's appropriate for you, we really want to strongly encourage people to get vaccinated. And regardless of your vaccination status, like you mentioned, you're mixing with people that are not in your quarantine bubble. So wear your mask to protect your community members. Wash your hands, maintain good hygiene, socially distance when you can. But we understand that it's not the easiest thing right now.
Thank you. I know you're so busy and we've kept you out here long enough. Thank you so much for all that advice. And I wanted to mention too, if Mike Milan, our photographer, would pan over, you can see here at Ochsner what they're doing just to keep going. We've seen several trucks with the drinking water out here, and of course gasoline trucks are in another area just to keep this, it's almost like a city. Ochsner across the state has 33,000 employees, so that's very important. I want to mention too, as you know, Ochsner also has hospitals in Houma, that's Chabert. They also have St. Anne in Raceland. And they wanted me to pass on to you that, well, first of all, the management from Ochsner has been in Houma today surveying that damage. As you know, they had to evacuate both of those hospitals, and they're surveying that damage, and we're efforting getting some pictures of that as soon as we can. So St. Anne, they had roof damage. That's in Raceland, and there were floodwaters and wind damage at Chaubert and Homa. So, but I wanted to pass on to you that the ERs are open at both of those places. The emergency rooms are open, and again, Oxnard, LCMC, all of them stress this is for life or death right then and there. You can't breathe from COVID. You are bleeding. You're having a heart attack that is very dangerous. Something where death is imminent on something like that. It's not for if you have an earache or stomach ache or something like that. They just don't have the personnel right now to deal with that. So lots of this is on our website, WWLTV.com. We will keep updating you, and we have all the links, too, for all those places that will update you because things are changing rapidly every day, as you can imagine.